Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Stractify 500. We're pretty deep into our perspective drawing series. And just as a reminder, well, before I even give the reminder, we're deep into our perspective drawing series, and we started off 1-point perspective with the last 2 introductory videos, which were done in a freehand sort of style. Basically just introducing you guys to the basic concepts of what we're going to cover. All right, so again, to the reminder that I was mentioning, let's go back to this particular sketch, which I've been using in all the perspective drawing techniques. And as we can see, we've already covered, if you look back on the list of videos or on any of the old videos, we've completely covered 3-point perspective. We've completely covered 2-point perspective. We wrapped that up several days ago, and we've gotten started with 1-point perspective, like I said, with the last 2 videos, which were introductory videos, and they were done instead of using a ruler and anything like that to just get into it, to get into the drawing properly. I just did a bunch of like freehand sketches just to get the overall concept out of the way, just to sort of ease you guys into the process here. Okay, so now that we are going to really get into things, we are going back to this diagram that we've been using throughout the other 2 techniques, and we're gonna definitely explore what boxes and cubes look like under the horizon line, on the horizon line, straddling the horizon line, right on the horizon line, and then above the horizon line. Okay, so still have this handy because we're still gonna keep using this. All right, so that's gonna take us into, the last 2 videos were part 1A and 1B, and this is gonna be part 2, where we really get into some drawing. Okay, and so right off the bat, I have a few sketches here, and let me just remind you again, something I've mentioned before, is before you go into any perspective drawing composition or project or anything like that, come up with a rough sketch. Don't just grab your ruler and your pencil and just start drawing, like laying out horizon lines and whatnot, and start drawing with the ruler without a basic concept sketched out. This will help you to loosen up, this will help you to warm up, and this will give you a direction to go in when it comes to what you're trying to draw. And it'll help speed up the process as well. So take your time to come up with rough sketches like this and work a few things out, okay? And do it in such a way where you're not even thinking about the perspective, so you're not necessarily trying to do perspective drawing in this rough sketch. You're just, of course you'll know sort of like the technique and what you're going for, but don't be too overly concerned about, getting the perspective right with the sketch. Just lay these rough sketches out, place the objects where you want to place them, come up with a basic idea for the composition, and then start to work it out in perspective. Okay, like I said, this is to help loosen you up, warm you up a little bit, and make things a little bit easier for you. So this is what we'll be doing this time in this video. And then in part 3, spoiler alert, I guess, I'm going to go a little more abstract, and I'm going to be using the color markers, the colored pens, to do this drawing. Okay, so I'm just going to show you that real quick. This is what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to set this aside, and we are going to get started. All right. Oh yeah, before we get started, one last thing. In the introductory videos, I focused on these diagrams or these layouts to get the concept across of the positioning of your back wall, the positioning of your horizon line, and then the positioning of the vanishing points that you're going to use. Okay, and So I'm not going to go through all 6 of these, rather I'm going to do sort of like a combination of these. So for this video, I'm going to do a combination of this placement of the vanishing point on the middle of the horizon line in combination with, say, this, the positioning of this horizon line against this rectangle, which serves as the back wall of the room. Okay, and so we will pretty much be drawing the interior of a very basic room and placing some objects and some features around the room in accordance with this diagram. Boxes under the horizon line, straddling the horizon line, on it, maybe on it, and above the horizon line. So we're combining this with these, with this to come up with our drawing, our 1-point perspective drawing. Okay? All right, now let's get started. So let me get my paper, get my rulers out. All right, and make sure we're positioned in a way that you guys can see. And this will be the black and white pencil / pen drawing. Put this way over here. And okay. All right. Well, first thing we're going to do is lay out our horizon line. Like so. And then I am going to, even though I'll be using the ruler, but I'll be eyeballing a little bit here and there. So let me do it this way. To keep it as accurate as possible, let me measure this out. So I'm sort of putting the horizon line in the middle, but not totally in the middle. So I'm gonna just, this is what I'm gonna do. So just a little up there, and 2, and I'll do the same thing over here. Is 2 inches, 2-inch height. Okay, and then with that being done, I will just, I do want to give myself a little bit of space to spread out. Let me make sure this is nice and parallel. Should be fine. So I'm still going to try and keep the rectangle or the back wall kind of small. So like that. And I'm gonna try not to rush. I feel myself kind of slowing down, but I'm trying not to rush through everything. So let's get rid of those. These we don't need right now, or we don't need at all. Don't need it to confuse anything or to get in the way, so I'll erase these. These are not crucial construction lines that I need to leave in there, so there's that. 1 second, let me grab my brush. Help keep the paper clean. All right, so sort of in the middle here, but I've sort of raised the horizon line a little bit. It's not as far up top like some of the other examples I used in the last video, but it's sort of in the middle, but elevated a little bit. This will probably be my center right here. In fact, let's just go ahead and just mark exactly where the center is, just so that we know. So it's right there. I'm going to go a little bit off, maybe close to the center. I don't want it totally and completely in the center. So there's our VP. I'll label it VP. I'll leave that in there just for reference. So there's our single VP right there, okay? And with that set up, I'm going to go ahead and project lines from the vanishing point through the corners of that box, like so. Do it lightly, and then I'll darken things later. Okay, so there's our room. There's that left wall. There's that right wall. This is the ceiling. Here's the floor. Let's look at our drawing real quick, our sketch. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a big open doorway or corridor, opening to a corridor on the left wall. I'm going to put this sort of cutout on the right wall, a window or cutout or whatever. I'm going to place a box here. I'm going to place a box above the horizon line, and then I'm going to have one straddling somewhere here. So this is the general sketch, the general plan that I'm going for. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll pull this in every now and then to refer to it and see how close I'm getting to that. Or you guys will see it. I can see it right now because I have it off camera, but I'm referring to it and looking at it. And so I think the first thing I'll do is the door, okay? And what I'm gonna do is, I think I got a little too dark here with the horizon line, a little too dark, a little overly dark. So I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. I don't want it that dark. So I might as well just lighten it up now. And then when I darken everything else, I don't have to worry about lightening it up later and worrying about erasing something else or whatever. I mean, you know, don't want to be overly precious about it, but at the same time, want to take care of things as I go along. All right, so let's get this door done. So the way I'm going to approach this is I'm just going to go along this line, and I'm going to be kind of arbitrary. So I'm not making any specific measurements. So that'll be one side of the door, and this will be the other side, right? So this will mark the width of my door. I'm going to come here with my ruler and my 30, 60, 90 degree triangle, and let's do it this way. Yeah, it's kind of beveled, so it just sort of slides off, so let's go this way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just strike a perpendicular line straight up and down all the way to the top. I mean, you can stop part way through if you want to, but for the sake of clarity in this example, I'm just going to go all the way up to the top. Okay, all the way up to the top. And then I am going to mark the height, like right here. That's going to be the height. And I am going to, from the vanishing point through that point, strike a line. Let me do it this way. I can use my short ruler and do it in such a way that you, the viewer, can see it. That'll be the top of the doorway to my corridor. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and darken that a little bit. Darken that a little bit. I'm going to keep this one simple. And when I say that, what I mean by that is I'm not going to be too fussy about, like I put this sort of framing around the door. I'm not going to be too fussy about that. I'm just going to leave it open. I am going to put this this little thingy down there. So I'm going to mark the height of that. Forgotten what they call that. It's a very simple word. I'm having a brain fart where that's concerned, but you guys know what that is. You see that all. You see that in every house. Okay. So to provide some dimensionality to that door, some 3D dimensionality or whatever, what I will do is I will line the triangle up with the horizon line, place it up against the ruler, that way I can go up and down, and then I'm going to hit this corner right here, strike a nice solid perpendicular line going into that door, and do the same thing at that edge right there, which gives me that three-dimensional look of a corridor or hallway going that way. And then I can even go ahead and take this in there as well. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just draw the way that looks. So what I will do is I'll just draw something like that, just to create do some arbitrary shading. Just to help with that 3D look, and then I'll do some shading in the direction of the perspective line, just to help define that a little bit. I think I'll darken it a little more. Just cross hatch it like so. That should do the trick for now. Okay, so there's our doorway done, and as you can see, the rectangle formed here, or the square formed here, it falls. It's basically a box straddling the horizon line, like I've talked about. Okay, so that counts as my box straddling the horizon line. Let's get a box below the horizon line, which will be the box here. So I'm going to draw this right now. Okay, I'm going to do this, then probably this, then probably that. All right, let me just jump straight into it. So what I want to do is, I'll just, in the same way I'm maintaining my horizontal line, using the triangle against the ruler. Going to be consistent with that, and so I'm going to place horizontal line there, and place a horizontal line there. Give yourself, like, make it long enough so that you give yourself enough room to complete things. You don't have to come back and, you know, put extra length in there or whatever. Extend it nicely. All right, so we've got that and that, and this will be the width of my box. Let's see. Yeah, this will be the width of my box, and let me do it in such a way that we have an overlap. I want an overlap here, but I don't want, whatever the height of this is, I don't want it to run alongside of this. So I'm going to place this here like so, and I'm even going to go ahead and strike, put the vertical in there. Put the perpendicular line in there, just strike it all the way through, strike this all the way through, and in fact I'm going to just go ahead and pick the height, and I want it under this line, but I want to make sure I overlap this so that we get that three-dimensional look. So I'm going to place that there, and I'm going to just go ahead and just strike that horizontal line through there. So that's going to be the height and width of our box. Okay, so with that done, all I have to do is strike a line from the vanishing point, straight through that, strike a line from the vanishing point, straight through the point at the top of the box, all the way through. I'm seeing some things where I might not be as accurate as I wanted to be. I'm not hitting the vanishing point accurately. I made a slight little boo-boo, so some things might be off a little bit. We'll see. Okay, and take that all the way through there. All right, so there might be some slight inconsistencies. We will see. We will see. And if there are, you guys watched me long enough. I've put up enough videos for you to know that I will just own it. Be like, you know what? I messed up there. All right. So let's see. Let's see what we've got. So I'll strike a line through there. We hold that. Move this over. Make sure we are well aligned. And this comes through here. There's the intersection. Okay, so there we go. And these should connect perfectly. They might not, but they should. Let's see if I'm doing okay. Let's see if I'm doing okay. And it's slightly off. It is. It's that and that. Yeah, it's slightly off, as you can see. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and force it. You guys please be more careful. These things do happen, so this is not, I don't want to come off as saying, you know, do what I say, not what I do. You guys will make the same mistakes, so as you practice, just endeavor to be more accurate with the way you plot your points and your lines and all that kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and darken that. Use the ruler. Again, that's why you want your short ruler. They even have 3-inch rulers. So right now, with what I'm doing right now, a 3-inch ruler would be perfect for this, for what I'm trying to do right now. For these really short lines. But this is short enough where I can manage, so where it's not a major problem. Yeah, I'm just feeling myself getting a little extra precious as I'm drawing it, so that's why I said come on, like that. I get precious, it slows me down, and sometimes you just want to, you know, go with the flow and lay down your lines as they come. Okay, so there we have it. So there's that box. So I'm going to go ahead and deal with this feature right here. Okay, this inset window. Okay, I want to, what I will do is I will use my triangle yet again. And what I will do is let's do this. Line my ruler up. And I sort of want to put it here, like right here, but it's, yeah, now I'm getting picky and precious again. I'm just going to move it further in, like that, because that's what I feel like doing. So, and I won't make it as, I'm definitely not going to make it as wide. That'll be kind of ridiculous. But I'll do something else. Something else to, such that you guys can keep certain things in mind. So that's going to be the width of my window, but I want to maintain the height. I want the height of this to be the same height here. So what I'm going to do is, actually, what I should do is just make sure I line it up with using the vanishing point. Line up that top, it gives me that height right there. And I'm going to line this ruler up with the perpendicular edge right there, which will allow me to take this all the way over here. I'm not going to draw the line, I will just indicate it right here, like so. And then from there, I will connect to the vanishing point and project that line through that top part. And I can go ahead and just darken that real quick. Okay, and determine the height, the base of that window, probably like right there, should be fine. And just connect with the vanishing point to get that lower edge. I'll darken that as I go along, and then let me darken the rest of it, because I'm not gonna cut into it in any way or have to omit any parts of it. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and get that, draw in those horizontal lines that will indicate the inner dimensions of this inset feature in the wall. And I'm going to make it that thick. Well, you know what, because that's it's closing up here. It's coming awfully close here, so I'm going to make this a little deeper. I'm going to deepen it a little bit. Okay. Like so. There we go. And then once I've got that point, then I'm going to have to, from that point, connect that to the vanishing point and complete that portion right there. I'm gonna have to do the same thing here. Like so. Make sure that's connecting properly. It's kind of, well, it's kind of okay. Could be better. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and shade. I'm gonna shade like this, the direction, and just make it a little darker. Then I'm gonna just arbitrarily shade that down. It's a light shading. And I'll just do like a basic all over shading just for that back wall. All right. So we have our inset right there. Could put a potted plant or something in there, who knows. Okay, so we've got those three features. So right now we've got two perspective rectangles and cubes and whatnot, two that are straddling the horizon line, one that is below the horizon line. Let's put something above the horizon line. And the way I'm gonna do this real quick is, let's see, I don't want it touching the ceiling. So basically I'm gonna treat this back wall like, even though we've got our 3D perspective view worked out, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna revert back to just treating this like a flat rectangle, okay? And I'm gonna treat this part as an elevation, so to speak. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to, as an elevation, I am going to lay out where I want my cube. I don't want it touching the ceiling, so I want it, say, that, I want it to drop that, I want it to drop it that much from the top of the ceiling. And then I want it, make it that'll be the height. And then what I will do is get the general shape that I want, or not the general shape, the exact shape that I want. That's the shape I want, just a simple rectangular shape like that. I can get rid of this. I don't need this. I've used those radiating lines already, so I'm fine. So that'll be it. And all I need to do now is, from the vanishing point, strike. And you know what? Let's go ahead and label this real quick. Little small labels, A, B, C, and D. Okay, so that we can stay on track and things don't get mixed up or confusing. So directly from the vanishing point through each vertex, each corner, each edge, strike a line straight through. Okay, and you can extend that line. You don't have to worry about where it stops. You can just extend that. Let the construction, of course, we're not extending it way over here, so we don't have to be ridiculous about it. But you can extend it out slightly and then clean it up later. So this will be my line A. This will be my line. This will be my line. Let me make sure. Let me be sure of that. Be sure of that. So this will be line B right here. I'm gonna put it out here. The label, line B, so I think I can be a little more accurate. This will be my line C, and then of course line D. I'll just circle them. Okay, so with that done, what I'm gonna do is, of course I don't want this box to be too outrageous, or you know what, maybe I could. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just be, I'm gonna be a little obnoxious here. And so I'm gonna stop it here. So from C to D, I'm going to go ahead and strike a perpendicular line. So from line C to line D, we're going to connect those two like so. She'll give me that and that. So I guess I could call this C1 and D1. Okay, I guess I'm getting a little precious, aren't I? Okay, so all I need to do is connect those. So from D1, and I'm gonna go ahead and start darkening them. And I'm gonna take the risk that it might be a little off. I'm just gonna darken it anyway, and make sure that's aligned properly. And bring this over here. Ooh, something funny's happening. This is connecting right to this, but that's okay for now. I'll have to look out for that next time. So don't let that happen. Yeah, and it does connect. So I'm just gonna darken it. And you can see our box is complete. So I'm just going to go ahead and darken the whole thing so that you can see, and you can see the completed box and differentiate those lines from the construction lines. There we go. Again, right now a 3-inch ruler would be great. So I think I need to go buy one for like 60 cents or something like that. All right, so there's our box. Our box above the horizon line. And even though I don't like doing it, I'm going to place one. I'm going to place a box right on the horizon line. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to treating this back wall as a flat rectangle or an elevation. And I'm just going to go ahead and place my other rectangle right on it, like that. Like so. And then I'm going to just get the horizontal in place. Right there. Like that. Those are the points. And I'm not going to label these. Hopefully you guys can see clearly what I'm doing. Strike a line through there. Got a little dark. Yeah, you can't see. You can't strike a line through there. It's just going to be flat. And I'm just going to strike a line through this point. Make sure it connects properly to the vanishing point. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to make that's going to be the width of my box right there, or the thickness of my box rather, which now allows me to just connect from this point to get the top of my box. And when this connects to this radiating line, all I have to do is from that point strike a line straight down to the horizon line, or that horizontal. Okay, and there's our box. It's going to look a little wonky, but just so that you guys can see how it works, thought it would be interesting to just go ahead and throw that in there. There we go. All right. So if I were going to use this in an illustration or something like that, I would probably put some sort of drop shadow there to help differentiate it. Something like that, or like that, something like that. Of course, I'll talk about shadows at some other point. But there's the box on the wall. Okay, so there we have it. Let me see if there's anything else I need to cover. Okay, so you put them side by side. You have a little room here, such that things are not off camera. There we go. Yeah, let's do it like that. There we go. So there's our box on the floor below the horizon line, just as I planned it out here. Here's the little window or inset feature in the wall. Okay, this is how it works out, and based on some of the changes I made. This box would be this box. This is how it looks. This is the box above the horizon line. This and the doorway are the box or the rectangle or a side of the box. This is how it looks based on its placement, straddling the horizon line, and then this is a box directly on the horizon line, which, as you know from past videos, I try to avoid doing this because, as you can see, it sort of flattens out in a weird sort of way. I mean, it's legit, but it doesn't look very natural. And then there's your whole room, your whole interior room. And then you can add other things as needed, maybe things sticking out of the wall, sockets and outlets, a mouse hole or something, features on the ceiling, chandeliers, lights, things like that. Yeah, so this is the basic setup. This is the basic setup in one-point perspective, and this is how to go about doing it. Go ahead and try placing the boxes in different places and see what you get out of it. See what this room looks like when you shift the vanishing point closer to the left, closer to the right, smack in the middle, and then also, again, try placing the horizon line further up, further down, and see some of the different configurations that you get. Okay, the last thing I'll do is I'm going to just go ahead and carry this feature all the way throughout the rest of the piece, and then I will wrap up the video. All right, let me do that real quick. Should not take me long at all. First of all, let me go ahead and I think it's just called a baseboard. Like I said, it was a simple word, baseboard. There you have it. Or if it's called something else, put that in the comments. I don't mind the education on this channel going both ways, or multiple ways. Oops. Erase that. I'm gonna darken it anyway, so there you we go. And ooh, we're gonna have it run into each other. If it does, I'm just gonna sort of cut it off. Not cut it off, but stop short. Right there. Goes over it, so I'll just indicate it here. And looks like it's going over, but I don't like those lines being that close to each other. So I'll just indicate it like that. Okay. All right, there you have it. This is part 2 of 1 point perspective, where I'm drawing everything out with the ruler. So we've got part 1A, part 1B, which was the introductory part where I just laid the concepts out using freehand drawings. Now I've actually done some technical drawing here and some perspective drawing with the rulers. And then in part 3, I'm going to do the same thing over again. It's going to be more abstract, like that, and I'm going to use the colored pens for that one. Okay. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining in. We will continue with our perspective drawing series, and we have a few more things to cover after that. All right, you guys take it easy. See you in the next video.